Welcome in to the Roll Tide Rewind. We appreciate you joining us here. If you like what you see, give us a subscription to the channel. We have a very special guest today. We have Jake Thomas from TideTalkLive. Jake, how are you doing?
I'm good, Thomas. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it and enjoyed talking about the offensive side of the ball. Now we're going to get to talk about the defensive side of the ball. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and you can get Jake and Stacy's content on Tide Talk Live on YouTube and also Tide Talk_live on X. You can also find a link to a Discord in there that we're all on. We talk about football, hoops. We have a really good time talking about that. So be sure to join that for extra Alabama coverage. But like Jake said, today we are going to move and talk about Alabama's defense. The one thing I'll say about Alabama's defense last year, it was by far our best unit we had. Special teams, kind of a disaster at some points. Offense was shaky. The one thing you can count on was our defense was going to keep us in the game. South Carolina's first one I think of. Offense was so off in that game. The defense kept us in the game, had a pick six, also forced a fumble very late in the game. You think of the Auburn game. You think of LSU game. The defense showed up constantly. Offense sometimes didn't, and that's what cost us at the end, I feel like. But what is your assessment on the defense going into the year? And we're losing a lot of guys from last year to this year. Going to have some new blood on the team. But what's your early feel on the defense going into the spring?
I'm very excited about this defense. I really think a lot of people are sleeping on it a little bit. Now I know they're not sleeping on the secondary because the secondary is probably the best we've had probably since Micah Fitzpatrick was running roughshod in the secondary at Alabama. But I think a lot of people are underestimating how good and how it's really a sleeper under the radar on our defensive line. I mean, there's a lot of experienced guys there. And they brought in some good experienced guys, and it really shapes up to be a very, very good year for the defense again. If we can figure out those inside linebackers, this team is going to be scary good on defense. I have no doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I think all those are good points. And like to say, the secondary is good, but there's some, like they said, there's some unknown. There's some things that we're going to have to wait and see. Let's go to the first position battle for the defense. Not as many position battles on defense as there is on offense, but we have 4 of them we want to talk about. First is the bandit position. LT Overton started for us for 2 years. He was great, played high-level football, and he's going to be drafted probably in the 2nd or 3rd round of the NFL draft. We have two potential replacements that maybe one of them could play a different position, but I'm confident in one of them will stay at this position. Devin Tompkins from USC, new weight. Alabama has new weights and heights for players. 6'5", 298 pounds. He came in at 6'5", 285. Now he's at 298. So I kind of am convinced that he could play a different position than Bandit. But the problem is defensive line. We have London Simmons, who's already in that position. And I don't think Devon Tompkins is going to knock him out of that position, but I don't think he's also big enough to play nose guard. I think he needs to be a little bit weightier for that. But I think he's the early favorite for the bandit position. You also have Desmond here from South Carolina, 6'6", 253 pounds. So there's a 40-pound weight difference between these two guys. And that's what early reports that I'm seeing, these are the 2 guys for the bandit position, but you're seeing 2 very different weights. Why do you think that is, Jake? I'm asking mostly because I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm very confused as well. I thought the consensus when Thompson's come in that he was going to be the new bandit, but boy, he's added the weight and muscle and all that, and now he's flirting with that 300 range. And like, man, I don't know exactly where LT was at weight wise last year, but I know he wasn't 300 pounds. So he. And LT has some quickness about him. Now Tompkins could be 300 pounds and move like a cheetah. I don't know. We hadn't seen him on the film. I hadn't seen any film about him yet. But it's just kind of odd that, like you said, there's a 40-pound difference between these 2 guys, and they're both buying playing time at the bandit position. I'm curious to see what the coaching staff has planned for this position right here.
Yeah, and LT Overton's weight, I just looked it up, 278. So right. Tompkins is close to that, but he's just heavier. But maybe we want to be meatier on the defensive line. Maybe that's what they're going for. But Desmond could also be a guy that maybe plays some at Wolf. Yeah. But also, we have our guy at Wolf. We have Yonce Pierre. He's back. So
you're not taking him off the field.
Yeah, you ain't taking number 0 off the field. He's going to wear number 0 this next year, but you ain't taking him off the field. So But yeah, this is an early fill in the Bennett position. I think Tompkins is my guy. But yeah,
Yeah.
what about how does the weight class may differ? But we'll see more in the spring. We'll see what Kane Womack talks about as well. We'll see some different things. We'll see how they line up in the spring too.
Yeah.
We'll go into the next position, also on the defensive line, nose guard. I love Terrence Green. I love this transfer from Oregon. His film is great. I did a defensive line portal review film about a month or two ago. Be sure to check that video out. But Terrence Green is now he's 6'5", 319. He actually did lose a bit of weight. He came in at 330, dropped to 319. Don't think that's a bad idea to get some quickness in there. Tim Keenan was just big, and he played the part, and he had some quickness to him, even though he was big. Maybe this is a way for Green to become more quicker while also still being pretty big. You also have Jeremiah Beeman, was a guy that was possibly going to play this position last year when Keenan was injured, but then he himself got hurt and missed the entire year. You also have Kedrick Bingley Jones, transfer Mississippi State. He's getting, I believe, a 6th or 7th year of eligibility. He's an older guy. He's 6'4". I think he actually lost 18 pounds when he got here from 6'4", 320 to 302.
Wow.
So he's actually losing weight, getting a little bit quicker. I talked about it in the film review video that he's a guy that probably could play a 3-4 defensive end. That's how his body shapes out to be. So he could possibly play some bandit as well. But what is your early feel on the nose guard? And is Terrence Green also one of your favorite transfers?
Yeah, by far, Terrence Green was a huge pickup for this coaching staff, I do believe, and I do think he's going to be the number one guy trotting out. But I really and excited to see what Jeremiah Beeman brings, because for his injury, 2 years ago in the playoff game, again, I think it was against Michigan, you kind of saw the potential that kid had, and then the injury just started piling up on top of him. He's not been able to get on the field and show what he can do. If we get a healthy Jeremiah Beeman and a Terrence Green, my gosh, that defensive front is going to be very electric this year.
Yeah, like we said, it's a lot of new blood. Tim Keenan's going off to NFL. I see him possibly getting drafted in little later rounds, but he's going to be a defensive lineman in the NFL, I think, for at least over 5 years. He's going to stay in the NFL for a good while. But it's going to be a good competition in nose guard. I think you have quality guys that can play this position, and they're going to get all competition, and that's a good thing to see.
Right.
The position of most concern, I think, for most Alabama fans that paid attention last year to this year, we lost our 3 middle linebackers. We lost Deontay Lawson, we lost Justin Jefferson, and we lost Nikai Hill-Green. All of those guys were 5-year guys. Deontay Lawson was a 3-year starter for us too, and he played a lot in 2022 with some injuries and stuff. So he played for 4 straight years. We have Caleb Woodson. He's a transfer from Virginia Tech. He's actually put on some weight. When you watch him in film, he doesn't look super, like he's muscular, but he's not like big. He actually went from, say, 6'3". He went from 230 to 238 when he got on campus. So it's great things to see. But then we have 4 other guys that have been on the roster for at least a year or two. We have QB Reese, who actually played the most out of the linebackers. He was the first guy up after Lawson, Jefferson, and Nikai Hill-Green. The second guy up was Caden Jones. You also have Luke Metz and Duke Johnson, who both have been on the roster for a little bit. A lot of young blood here at linebacker. What is your early feel on this linebacker's position? Do you think Caleb Woodson's a plug-and-play guy? Because he was a captain at Virginia Tech. He was very much a trusted guy at Tech, a guy that showed a lot of leadership, and that maybe is something you need out of this linebacker room that's kind of fresh. What is your early feel on this room?
Yeah, I feel like Caleb Woodson's going to be kind of like the captain of this group and have the, I guess, be the play caller just because of the experience wise. But I really love QB Reese, what he brings to the table. He just got a knack of football, and he knows in the position where to be at certain situations. So I think he's got a leg up on the other guys. But Caden Jones, I believe, is really, really talented. The coaching staff has talked about Luke Metz, so they're really high on him. Duke Johnson, I've heard good things about him as well. So we've got a lot of guys here potentially who can play, and I think we'll be just fine. It's just they just have no experience, because you weren't going to take those 3 guys off the field last year as good as they was playing. They never had a game where you're like, okay, yank them off the field and put somebody else in. They were just that, consistent. Unfortunately, not allowed, QB Reach to have a lot of playing time. Caden Jones having playing time. We met some of these guys. So it's fresh, like you mentioned, Thomas. But I'm excited to see where it leads. If they can shore this up, this defense is going to be really, really well.
I'm going to mention one more name.
Mm-hmm.
It's Xavier Griffin, 5-star linebacker from Gainesville in Georgia. He 6'3", 200-ish in high school, played a little bit like what would be Alabama's Wolf linebacker, which is our outside linebacker, and also played some middle linebacker off ball. He probably is the most talented player Alabama landed in this recruiting class. Josh Niblett even said that Xavier Griffin was probably the best player he ever coached. Josh Niblett was the head coach at Hoover High School. He coached Marlon Humphrey, and he coached George Pickens, to name others. He coached a lot of great players, a lot of great athletes. So it's a very high praise out of Xavier Griffin. Griffin, he came here to campus. He is now from 6'3", 200. He is 6'3", 222. 22-pound increase. Hasn't been here long. And when the meteor he gets, he's more of a candidate for a middle linebacker position. To be fair, I made this graphic probably like a week ago, and I didn't know these weights had come out. So these weights have come out. I now get curious for Xavier Griffin to be another off-ball linebacker because he's talented. He's almost like one of those guys that you're like, is he too talented to keep off the field? But I think Xavier Griffin is also a name to look out for in this position. Do you think so as well, Jake?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Thomas. I really think he's another guy that's going to come in and make noise, and potentially with, you don't have a lot of leadership at this, spot. He could potentially come in and be a guy who starts day one as a true freshman, because he's getting a lot of praise as the next Jahad Campbell, and we know how good Jahad Campbell was in a Crimson Tide uniform. So if he's getting those kind of praises, I'm ready to see this kid on the field for sure.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to see some of these freshmen get on the field and see what they can produce, especially in the spring game that'll be in about a month. And it should be still a spring game format, like not what last year was. It should be a spring game format because there's no spring transfer portal window. So they can't be watching us play and then also think they're going to take the guy from us. So no, not this year. The last position we'll talk about for defense is Husky. I'm going to start off by saying I think Red Morgan is going to win this job. Out of all these position battles that I put on here, that's the one I'm the most confident in. But I just want an excuse to talk about the secondary. Our secondary is going to be really, really good. The problem is position battle wise for us to talk about. There's not much to talk about in the corners. Zabian Brown is back, 3-year starter. He's just such a game changer. Like I was thinking about it the other day. What's my favorite Zabian Brown play? I don't really know. The pick six against Tennessee is legendary. He had a pick to seal against Georgia. His pick six against Oklahoma was awesome. He just has so many good plays. Yeah. Dijon Lee as a freshman was incredible. 6'4", such a size advantage as a corner, and he's quick and he's elusive and he can make plays off the ball. So corner, I think, is locked up. We'll go to safety. Bray Hubbard going to be starting for his third year. Keon Sabb going to be starting for his third year. Not much to talk about there, but Bray Hubbard's the game changer. He might be our best player on the defense. He's the guy he's the headhunter. That's what he is. Keon Sabb is just that consistent guy that's always going to be there to make that play. He always plays hard. Husky is an opening. We are losing Deshaun Jones, who played this position mostly last year. Red Morgan got to play more of it at the end of the year. And Red Morgan, I'm just going to say it, he's a dog. You saw it. He fights every single play. He gives so much effort. His helmet will pop off because he is trying so hard. He's a guy that I really want this position to be. But we have some other options. Zay Mincy is a great player. He's entering his junior year. He's played a lot, given the fact that he hasn't started. He's very elusive. You can put him at safety. You can put him at corner. You can put him at the Husky. The Husky position is a guy that can play both safety and corner and kind of walk up as an outside linebacker. It's kind of similar to the star position that Alabama had with Minka Fitzpatrick. Zay Mincy is a consistent dude. Want to talk about this guy, though. Jaira Edwards from the St. Francis Academy. He is a great football player. He probably, after Xavier Griffin, is my second favorite player we landed in this class, maybe besides Xavier Crowell. But I think talent-wise, this guy has the potential to be a first-round draft pick. He has all the tools. He's a hard hitter. He just finds ways to make plays. And I think Jair Edwards, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. Then Ivan Taylor was a red shirt last year. He looked great in his high school film. He's also back to vie for the position, vie for playing time. It's just a crowded secondary room. It's the one position where I just kind of go, I mean, our backup probably would start on 75% of football teams. What is your early feel, like we mentioned on the secondary, but on these other guys at the Husky position, what all they have to offer?
Yeah, I'm with you, Thomas. I think Ray Morgan, since he's comfortable at this position and played it most of the end of the season last year, I think he's going to be the starter. But Zay Mincy, like you mentioned, he's a guy that has been in this program for a while, and you kind of thought, well, he's probably going to be gone after this year and go in the portal because he's not getting any playing time. Well, he come back. The coaching staff was able to bring him back, so I think they're going to work somehow get him on the field a lot more this year. Jair Edwards, another guy, like you said, just loaded with talent, freshman coming in. So yeah, this is a loaded spot right here. But this, like you mentioned, this entire secondary is loaded. And I mean, I would venture and say, much like you did, that our backups at each spot on our secondary would probably be starting anywhere else as well. They're just that deep at the moment. So I'm very excited about the secondary. I'm very excited about those corners. We get a whole year now of Dejon Lee being at a corner position instead of splitting time with Damani Jackson. And then what more can you say, Thomas, about Xavier Brown? I mean, this kid, I love this kid since his, pick against Georgia a few years ago. And I have him as an X factor a lot in our videos because he does have that explosiveness ability to make a pick six or change a game, much like Bray Hubbard. So there's a lot to be excited about this secondary this year for sure.
Yeah, the Tennessee play that Xavier Brown had might be my favorite play that ever happened. I remember I thought about it 15 minutes after it happened. I said that might be my favorite play ever, and I don't think I've gotten off of that pedestal yet. I've had plays that where it had like Tua's throw to Devontae Smith's obviously legendary. That probably should be the favorite play that I have, but I don't know, man. That pick six was awesome just to watch. Watch live was so amazing. Jair Edwards, I will mention, he's up to 6'2". He didn't grow. He's still 6'2", but he gained some weight. He's now from 210 to 221. That's beefy for a safety, and that's a good thing to see. I think beefy you are at a strong safety position where you're a headhunter. I think that's great. He reminds me a lot of he would play the Bray Hubbard role if he got to play. If Bray Hubbard had to be subbed out, I think Jair Edwards is going to be the backup, which Bray Hubbard is not going to be subbed out due to play. He's not going to be benched. It's just more so like that's the next guy we have. Want to mention one more guy at the secondary, Jordan Edmonds, another true freshman. He 6'3", 188. That's what he's up to now. Was it 175? Now he's up to 188. He played receiver and corner in high school. A lot of Dejon Lee, like 6'3". He's huge. He's tall. A lot of height. And I think that he could maybe make an impact like Dejon Lee did and play kind of early. Not necessarily start, but be a guy that they kind of plug and play. Like, hey, they have this tall receiver. He's going to match up better with him. Let's going to put him in for these next few plays. One guy to watch. But yeah, I'm very excited for the defense this year. I think the defense is going to be good. It's a lot of unknown in the middle, but that's something that's going to be figured out over time. But I like what I see, like all the potential that I see. Where can we watch your content again, Jake?
We are on X, Twitter, whichever one you guys still follow. I just call it X because I'm used to seeing it now, but it's my personal X is Jake Thomas TTS. Tide Talk Live is Tide Talk _live on X. We're on Discord. We're on TikTok, Facebook. So anywhere you find us, we have a great time on Discord with everybody. So join in. We have a lot to talk about over there. We talk about football, talk about basketball. We got a softball chat in there, watching the girls be undefeated right now. Got a big series coming up this weekend with Arkansas. So number 4 versus number 5. That's going to be a fun series. So I'm sure we'll all be in there talking about that this weekend as well. So if you haven't joined us there, because it's a lot of fun and just hanging out with a bunch of Alabama guys as well and girls, we just have a great time.
Yeah, and be sure to follow them on YouTube. Tide Talk Live. They are getting
Mhm.
close to 4,000 subscribers. We just passed
Okay.
1,000 subscribers here. We're going to push forward and keep moving on. And hey, that's what we do. But
Mhm.
until then, I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Enjoy the hoops this week for the SEC tournament. And after me, Jake, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.